Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name's Rachel Boyle. I'm the Executive Director at the New Zealand Chamber in Singapore. And I'd also like to welcome those who are joining us from the ASEAN Business Alliance, the network around the region. I know there's a few of you on here today. Now, LinkedIn is one of the most popular social media sites in the world, and it calls itself the world's largest professional network. I'm sure most of you are on LinkedIn. Now, it's got a more professional and a more formal image than other social media platforms. And so the way you use it for your personal brand or for your company brand can really differ. LinkedIn was launched in 2003, and it's got over 750 million users worldwide. And the region with the highest number of LinkedIn users, Asia Pacific, with more than 200 million users. That's a lot of people that you can reach. So I'd like to introduce now our expert speaker for today, Natalie Hall. Natalie is the APAC Workplace Program Manager at LinkedIn here in Singapore, and she's also a Kiwi, which makes it perfect to have her speaking to us today. Natalie's one of LinkedIn's Rock Your Profile ambassadors, and this is a program that's designed to help people build their profile and tell their personal stories and connect to opportunities on the LinkedIn network. If you've got any questions for Natalie as we go through, just pop them in the Q&A box down the bottom, and then we'll pull all the questions at the end of sections and ask them then. But now, Natalie, over to you.
Great, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here and to welcome you to our Rock Your Profile program. As Rachel said, this is a program that we run at LinkedIn to help educate our members, our customers, non-profits on how to build a profile that is going to tell your professional story and help to connect you to opportunity on LinkedIn. So before we dive in, let me take you through what we're going to cover today. And this is our agenda. So I'll go through a little bit on getting to know LinkedIn, why we encourage you to use our platform and what you can get out of it. Some top tips on your profile and how to build out a really great profile, and what you can do once you've actually got your profile. So gaining some insights, connecting to different opportunities. So let's kick off by introducing you to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is all about you, your professional community, and helping you to connect to different opportunities. We don't get anywhere alone. It takes a community of people to help us to be successful. After all, success is when who you are lines up with what you do. We define our vision as our one true north, and it's our dream as a company. It's what drives us every day at LinkedIn. And our vision is to create economic opportunity for every member in the global workforce. And our vision is followed by our mission. And we define our mission as our overarching objective. It's something that's measurable and ideally inspirational. And that's connecting the world's professional to make them more productive and more successful. So now that you've got a better idea of LinkedIn as a company, let's talk a little bit more about our network. And how does LinkedIn create value for you? The answer to that can be summed up by our value proposition, and that is connecting to opportunity. And that connection to opportunity could be in whatever way that's going to mean to you. It might be finding a new job. It could be building out your professional identity, or even learning a new skill. And whilst we know that LinkedIn, it's not the end all or be all of all solutions, we are a stepping stone that can help you connect to those different opportunities. So next, let's talk about how you can actually leverage that power of LinkedIn. And as Rachel said, we've got over 750 million members globally. Over 200 million of those members are based in the APAC region. There's almost 60 billion companies who have a company page on LinkedIn. We've got schools, and last year there were over 443 billion news feeds update over the year. So that's an incredible amount of information and stats there on people using LinkedIn and sort of some of the insights that you can get from using the platform. So now that we've got a little bit of a better idea of LinkedIn as a company, let's talk a little bit more about the network and how your profile, and we can build that out and how you can use this network. So if we can just launch that poll, please, that would be great. And so quick poll on whether or not you already have a profile set up on LinkedIn, and yes you do, and or no you don't, or you do but you're not quite sure on what to do with it. Great to see that we already have over 80% with a profile, and we've got a few in there that have a profile but they're not sure what to do with it, which is great, because what I'm going to go through next is talk about how you can get the most out of your profile, and then what you can do with the profile and with the LinkedIn platform. So a moment. Okay, so your LinkedIn profile, it's a digital portfolio that represents you and it tells your professional story. You can think of it less as a resume and more of a dynamic digital portfolio that's engaging, it's visual, and it highlights your experience and skills to help you build that professional presence. So we're going to kick this section off by giving you some best practices and recommendation to strengthen the key parts of your profile. The first part is with your photo. And your photo is a really key part of your profile, and what it should do, it should truly represent your professional self. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to tell your professional community who you are. We wouldn't recommend obviously having like your other social, perhaps your other social network profile pictures, like maybe your Facebook or your Instagram, maybe you're at a party holding a beer. It's probably not going to look as good on your professional network, unless of course you were maybe representing that beer company or the barbecue company. We say that it can be a professional headshot, so you can have a professional photographer take your photo, but by no means it doesn't have to. Most of my picture and most of my colleagues in my network, most of their photos are a selfie taken with their mobile phone. If you are going to take your own profile picture, we recommend that you take it in a high resolution and make sure that you've got good lighting, and make sure that the photo only features you. Obviously with having a photo, you're going to get a lot more connection requests. People are a lot more open to connect with you if they can see there's a picture on there. And we also now have a cool editing. So if you want to, you can use the filter and really polish off your photo look. After you've added your photo, we also have a feature where you can record your name. This is quite a new feature of LinkedIn, and this allows for a really great first impression. And it also lets everyone know how your name is actually pronounced. I'm sure some of you have been there where people always get your name pronounced wrong, and this is a really good way to let them know how it's actually pronounced. You can record this on your mobile. It's a limit of 10 seconds. Obviously try to reduce the background noise, and make sure that you speak slowly and clearly. The next is your pronouns. Displaying your pronouns, it really helps us to show up as our authentic self on LinkedIn. We've done quite a bit of research, and that research has shown that pronouns are core to our identity, and it also shows how we want to be seen and lets others know how to refer to you. 70% of our job seekers believe it's important that recruiters and hiring managers know their gender pronouns. And 72% of hiring managers agree and believe that this also shows respect. Again, this is an optional field, and it's at the top of your profile if you'd like to add pronouns. You can also bring your profile to life through a very short 30-second video. And this video can help to introduce yourself and again, tell your story in a unique manner. One of the suggested formats that we recommend is to introduce yourself, say your name, and a little bit about the work that you do. You can add a bit more color by talking about what your passion is or what your expertise is, and consider ending it with a light call to action. That could be along, hey, feel free to message me if you'd like to chat further, or share your feedback with us via X, Y, and Z. Now, this feature is only available to access and record on your mobile. So if you pull up your LinkedIn profile on your mobile and tap your profile photo, you can tap view or edit cover story. So show your personality, be conversational, and show a bit of excitement. It will really help your profile stand out. Now, whether you're looking for a new job or sharing your expertise or growing your following, this cover story is going to really help to introduce yourself to that professional community. The next section we're going to cover is your industry. This is probably one of the most important parts to add. Adding your industry is often how others are going to find you and are able to find you and add you to their professional network. Super simple to do. Just click the pencil at the top of your profile, the edit function, and you can scroll down and add your industry. There's tons of industries on there. So just put one that obviously is your industry or represents the closest to your industry. Next section is if you are open to opportunity. If so, then this is definitely the section for you. So with LinkedIn, we allow you to set your job preferences. And to do that on your profile, you can click the Open To button. You'll see that on your profile page, and you can click Open To and select Finding a Job. With this, you have the ability to specify the job title that you're searching for. You can pinpoint the locations that you're interested in, and you can even select your job type, whether that be full-time, if you want to work remote, or part-time, etc. You can also be really specific or in general about your start date. If you add your start date, this is going to let your community know how quickly you want to land your next opportunity. Now, with this open to work, there are two things you need to keep in mind, and there are two ways to share this with your community. The first is an option to share with all LinkedIn members. If you select this option, that is automatically going to give you that green banner around your profile picture that says that you're open to work. And that way, that's going to allow anybody in your network or anybody who sees your profile on LinkedIn to see that you're open to work. So you're going to reach a whole wide range of people. If you don't want that option, if you want to keep it a little more private, perhaps you don't want your current company to know that you're looking for a new opportunity, what you could select is share with recruiters only. This function and this option is privately going to share only to recruiters, and it will not add that green banner of open to work to your portfolio. And we know that it can be super tough, especially at this current climate, in finding a new job. But just know that your LinkedIn community is always there to help, especially when they know that you need help. I don't know how active some people are on LinkedIn, but you may have come across some people looking for work, and they'll actually write a post about perhaps their struggles or asking their network to perhaps share their resume and their CVs or let them know. I see a few of them, and I see quite a few of them, depending on the content and the way that it's written, will get loads of shares, and you usually see, great, I found a role, or they've been connected with different recruiters or different people in the network. Next section is the About section, and this is where you're going to add your summary. So your summary, we like to think of it as your elevator pitch. It should include an introduction about you and also highlight your accomplishments and your aspirations. And as a best practice, we recommend that you write your summary section in the first person narrative. That way it comes across as a lot more authentic and genuine because it's coming from you. And we want LinkedIn to be a place where you can bring your authentic self and that's going to help you to build that community. We suggest keep it short and sweet. There's no need to list all your career accomplishments in this section, as we have our experience section for you to do that. What you can highlight is your unique talents and how you want to contribute to your network, or how you want to contribute to your industry or your community. And by adding a summary of about 20 words or more, that's going to make your profile more likely to turn up in a potential future employee search. So it's quite a great feature, and again, quite important that you round out your summary. So the next feature is featured. And the featured content is, this section is great. This allows you to showcase the work that you're most proud of at the very top of your profile. And again, this is another feature that's going to help to bring your profile to life. In this section, you can share articles, you can share images, documents, and links. This section also allows you to pin articles or posts that you've authored or that you've reshared. So you can feature content that speaks to you and to round out your story. You could also think about other parts of your profile where you might want to feature rich media, such as your experience or your education. Rich media, how we define rich media is a photo, it could be a video presentation, or anything that visually enhances your profile to make it more dynamic. So keep in mind, in the feature section, it doesn't have to be content that you created or you own. For example, if your company has a brand video or company branded assets, you can also use them in your profile. You can also use those, really great to add in your experience section. Just make sure that the content that you're posting isn't for internal use only. Make sure that it is content or brand that you can share externally. In the experience section, now this section is your opportunity to tell your professional story and talk about your accomplishments within each role that you've had. It's a really good way to showcase your experience, and one way to do that is to write it in a short paragraph form rather than just bullet points. You can use some bullet points here and there, but the majority should actually read like a story, like your professional story. We also recommend, if perhaps you've worked for a small startup company or even a smaller company that isn't well known, give a brief introduction to that company before detailing your experience. And lastly, it's really good, and if you've got a resume out there, this is one of the tips that we always get told to add to your resume, and it can be added to this section here as well, is to talk about what you did in your role. And it's even better to showcase the impact that you had, the results that you delivered, and any change that you created. Hiring managers say that that's the part that means the most for them. They want to know what impact that you had. What results did you deliver? And the last section is our creator mode. And this last section is going to help you to grow and engage with your audience. So with the creator mode, it's a great way to establish thought leadership and grow your following, because it's going to highlight your content within your profile. It's going to help you to build that following and engage with your audience around the content on LinkedIn. You might be wondering, why do I need to activate the creator mode? It is optional, but we've got sort of 3 reasons why we think it's a great idea to activate your creator mode. First one is grow your following. So once you turn on your creator mode, your connect button actually turns to a follow button. And this is going to help you reach a larger audience who can see and interact with your content. It will also display the number of followers right at the top of your profile. And the second reason is to showcase content. So the content within your profile will be reorganized to show your featured and your activity. So we covered the featured section earlier, where you could put on your documents or videos or articles that you've written or shared. If you've done that and you turn on the creator mode, that's going to bring that up to the top of your profile, and that's going to really stand out. And your recent activity, if you've shared a post, if you've commented on posts, or you've published anything, is also going to be highlighted at the top. So it's going to make sure that your content is displayed a bit more prominently. And the third reason we recommend that you activate the creator mode is to establish your voice and get discovered. You're going to be able to signal topics you post about by adding hashtags at the top of your profile, and that's going to make it more discoverable. I'm super passionate about sustainability, and most of my content on my profile is pretty much sustainability or environmentally related. So my hashtags at the top environmental, sustainability, etc. Just so people, if they know, or they know that's what I like to talk about, and that's how I like to interact on LinkedIn. So they were the top 10 sort of tips on rounding out your profile, but we do have 3 awesome extras. And the first one is adding your volunteer experience. So adding your volunteer experience is a really great way just to round out your professional identity. And we recommend that you just add a quick 1 or 2 sentences describing what you did for that specific organization. Almost half of all hiring managers, they say that they view your volunteer experience as equivalent to formal work experience. So it's a really important part of your professional identity. Second part is your skills. And if you add skills to showcase what you're great at, it's a really good, very quick way and a quick hit way to showcase these skills, and also to help recruiters find you. A lot of recruiters will search on skills. And it's also an excellent way for a third party to actually validate those skills that you have. So that's called an endorsement. And you are in full control of these endorsements and of these skills. So you can actually choose on what order they're displayed in and who endorses you for what. You can control which is shown on your profile, and by accepting or rejecting the skills endorsements. So while skills are a really great way to showcase what you're good at, recommendations are a really good way to actually build your professional credibility. If you don't already have them, I recommend that you request a recommendation from either a colleague, maybe your manager, or a partner that you work with. And I know it can be a little bit daunting sometimes in the feedback that, oh, I'm not really sure I want to approach somebody to request a recommendation, or how do I do that? One of the ways that I suggest that you do that is always customize your request. Make it personal, and make sure that you let that person know what you want to be recommended for specifically. Was it a project that you worked together on, or an initiative that you led, or was it something else? So the more specific you are in your recommendation request, the easier it is for that person to know what to write and what you want sort of showcased. Another example is what you could also do is you could also send them a first draft. If you know somebody's super busy, they may not have the time, you could send them a quick edit and say, would you mind recommending me for this project we worked on together? Here's a brief outline of the skills I would like you to showcase. Then they've got that option to edit it, change it, and it just gives them something a bit to work with. And then just lastly are these 4 items not to forget about. Obviously, your location is important. That's going to help you discover opportunities and connections in your area. On the accomplishment section, that's if you've won perhaps an industry award or an industry honour. And those are the kind of the great things to add into that section. So now we've talked about all the things to round out and revamp and hopefully bring your profile to the next level. I hope those of you that have a profile already have got a couple of maybe some tips or some insight on that. But perhaps if there's any questions, we could.
We do have a couple of questions that have come in, Natalie. The first one, there's a question about, would recruiters within your company see that you're open to new roles? You talked about, the button that says for recruiters only. Would someone in your company that has kind of recruitment specialties be able to see that?
Actually, that's something I need to double check. I have a feeling they don't, because I'm pretty certain as long as you're linked with the same company, it doesn't show to your company's recruiter.
Okay.
And I think when you actually click that section on it will come up and it will tell you that it's only available to recruiters outside of your organization.
That's good to know. And then can you add more than one industry in your profile? It's a drop down box. No, so choose.
Yeah, no, so we recommend choose the one that you're in currently, or if you're looking to go into a new industry, choose that as the industry you perhaps like to work in, because whatever industry you choose is the one people are sort of going to search for you on.
Okay. And speaking of search, how important is it in your introduction to focus on search words? So, for example, if I'm a marketing expert, do I have to have the word marketing in there?
You don't need to. If you put those in your skills, in the skills section, you can put all that in the skills section. So that is, the skills section is where a lot of the recruiters will search. But I think a lot of recruiters these days have sort of a bit of an AI where they'll actually go through your whole profile and check, especially under the experience as well. The summary is pretty much like, as I said, it's like an elevator pitch. This is quickly who I am in sort of like a, 30-second elevator pitch type scenario. That's why we sort of recommend that you put it as more of a story. Otherwise, if you just put bullet points like, marketing executive or anything like that, it doesn't really help you to stand out, and people will search on that and your skills anyway.
Okay. Another one here. Do you think LinkedIn users actually care about publications? Does anyone read through this list?
Yes. So I think that really depends on what you want to get out of LinkedIn. And if you ever look at my post, I will probably post maybe once a month, if that, and it depends on what I read. But I use LinkedIn every day because I read so much of what other people have posted or have shared or presented. And I get, especially in the workplace, as I work in workplace, I get a lot of information, what other companies are doing, especially with the COVID at the moment and new ways of working, what's, workplace of the future. And I get loads of information and ideas, and it also helps me to connect to those people and maybe have that conversation with them as well. So I do think publishing is important. And it depends if you're an expert in your field or you've got something you want to share and talk about, 100% recommend to publish.
Okay. Do you have any data on which sections LinkedIn users tend to spend the most time on when they're viewing your profile?
As in the most important part, or what?
Yeah, I guess do you have kind of dwell times in certain sections of the profile? So I guess following on from that, you then spend more time crafting that part of your profile?
I would say summary, super important, because that's the main part that people will read, and that sits at the top of your profile. And then your skills, as I said, is always the important part, and experience, especially your first two, your current job that you're in and perhaps the prior one. And I guess that's the same as a lot of recruiters, and that's sort of the feedback I get from the recruiters. That's the main sections that they will look through.
Mm-hmm. And we've got someone here asking, can you explain again how we add in featured content?
Yeah, sure. So if you've posted something, so you've written, and I'm going to go through sharing updates and publishing in the next section. So if you've written you shared a status and you shared an update, you can click on the top and you can add to feature. Or if you've posted something or you've taken some pictures, you can, once you've posted it on your timeline, and the three dots, you can add to features, and that will actually put it up in the featured section. And then you have the option to actually click and drag and move them into the order that you want to see them.
Okay. One here, what are the restrictions and benefits of various modes? So being in anonymous mode, private, public, etc.
So if you've got a private mode, then your community is only going to be that small community that you're going to connect with. People are not going to be able to search for you or find you, and it's just going to be literally who you mutually agree to connect with. If you've got an open network, and mine's open, and I think a lot of people are open because we like to think of it being a professional. We assume the majority of people are also professionals, and they're going to be connecting for the professional reasons and industries. And you will find you'll get a lot of people wanting to perhaps connect with you. And this is what I now like about the follow feature, because I don't get all the connection requests. I get people following me so they can see what I'm presenting, or if they send me in a message, then we may connect if we've got mutual industry or we've got mutual things in common that we would both benefit from. But the good thing is you don't have to accept these connections. I used to get loads of connection requests and people completely different industry, and I was like, I don't know why this person wants to connect with me. We have nothing in common, and nothing in common, and so I would usually ignore those those requests. If somebody was to send me a message on their connection request about why they want to connect with me, like, hey Natalie, I saw your article on, zero plastic, really inspired by that, love to talk to you more, would you mind if we connect? Then that for me is like, great, I don't know this person, but yes, I'd like to connect with them because we've got a sustainability interest in common.
And is it better to add a link to an outside article or to edit and publish your own content on LinkedIn?
We recommend publishing your own content. If you're going to feature somebody else's content, what you could do is, instead of just featuring it, you have the option, like if you're going to feature it, you can write why that resonates with you, why you want to share that, or why you want to feature that. Maybe you're passionate about the same topic, and I would suggest you put that in the featured section about why that resonates with you and why you wanted to feature that topic or that article.
Okay, and then a couple of questions, I'll just combine them, about searches. So someone's asked about the words used in the summary. I think we've covered that. Do they become part of the searches? But also in the skills section, will those be the keywords that recruiters will search on?
Yes, yeah. The skills section is the main part that gets searched on. So keep your skills updated. It's great if you've got endorsements on the skills, because that way it kind of validates again as well.
And there's a question here around LinkedIn Premium. Are there stats, or what are your thoughts on LinkedIn Premium and what extra value that delivers for premium members?
I might get in trouble on this one. My personal opinion, LinkedIn Premium is great. It's really good. If you want to use LinkedIn, the main differentiators are on LinkedIn Premium, you get to send people in mails, so emails. So you can connect with them and you can send up to a certain number of emails per month. And you also get access to all the learning courses. And the LinkedIn Learning, there's thousands of LinkedIn Learning courses. And the learning courses are amazing. There's some literally any section that anything you wanted to learn about are on LinkedIn Learning. So you get free access to that. If you don't want to use it for that, then personally, I don't see why you would necessarily need to upgrade to the premium, because the other features like your profile, you can connect, you can still do all the searching and everything is available on the normal one. It's just that you can't always perhaps connect with a recruiter or email them personally because you're not you don't have that ability to send the mails.
Right. Okay, good honest answer. And then this will be the last question for this section, I think, and then we can get to some more questions at the end. Patrick says you've given us some good direction for positive things to do. Are there some not so good things that we should kind of stop doing or be aware of?
I think one of the sort of things that we sort of get is we talk a lot about the profile photo. And I think that is, and to be fair, I don't see too many anymore that's not kind of professional, the right kind of professional picture. You do come across a few which are really unprofessional, I guess. There might be three of you in the background, like hugging each other, sort of something that you might see on your, as I said, like your Facebook. And apart from that is pretty much copying and pasting your CV and putting that straight into your LinkedIn. So it might be like your bullet points. And as I said, like on your work experience, it's really key to tell a story about what you've achieved and how you made that impact, instead of just, manage the finances, manage a team of 10 people, and just, sort of very brief, because it doesn't help. How did you manage that team? Or you managed the budget, did you make savings of X amount, or were you within 3% variance? Having stats like that is a really good thing, because one, it makes you stand out, and if somebody is looking at your profile, they can actually see that impact that you made and that impact that you had.
Yeah, great. Well, we're through the questions for that part, so yeah, I'm sure there'll be more as we get through your preso.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
The next section is building thought leadership, and how you're actually going to be able to share your insights, your expertise and opinions with your community. And there are two really great ways that you can do this. And that is, the first one is sharing updates. So this is how you can basically share your perspective in a quick and high touch way. And that's through the sharing the update. The second is publishing. And this is going to be your opportunity to explore a topic in more detail. So the difference between the two, you're probably wondering. So you're sharing an update is a quick fire way to share it. So it might be sharing your knowledge or your specific perspective and insight on something that you care about. And the publishing is the content and sharing the content in a way for you to explore the topic and basically writing a long form post on something. And how do you get started? So you can get started by sharing a status update on your homepage. You'll see that there is a share box at the top of your profile on your homepage. And there are a couple of things that can help your status update stand out from the crowd. So I'll go through the top 5 of those things. But when you click on create a post, you also get some sort of conversation starters, I guess. If you're not sure what you want to post, you might want to celebrate a colleague for an occasion. Maybe they've, been really collaborative, or they're always, bring fun to work. So if you click on, celebrating an occasion, it'll bring up some options on that. You can show that you're hiring. So if you've got a job open in your team, you can share it via a status update, or you might even know what people think. You might want to know what people are thinking in your industry or within your network, and you can create a poll. So some of the best practices are, again, sharing your authentic voice. This is always a key one for us, as LinkedIn is a platform where you can have your voice heard by your professional community. So we say, be authentic, stay on brand, and show up consistently. And that means if you share frequently, you're going to create more opportunities for you and your content to be discovered. And a pro tip for this one is, if you want to post content frequently, if you add a reminder to your calendar to post something once a week or every day, that's really going to have to share your voice. The third one is, if you post something quick and snappy, that's going to engage your professional community. You could pose a question, you could provide your perspective on current events or an article, or even give an insider point of view. The more people engage with the content you post, the more it's going to get shared and noticed in the newsfeed. Rich media is always a key one. If you include photos and videos, that's really going to help your post to stand out. They always get more comments and more likes if you have rich media included. And when you are posting a status update, think about the things that you can share that's going to benefit your professional community. And that also goes the other way. Use your status update to pose a question or get insights and thoughts from professionals that you care about. So you can always ask a question, hey, community, what do you think on this? I'd love some advice, or I'd love your point of view on this. So now that we've talked through some of the best practices on sharing updates, let's go through a little bit about publishing on LinkedIn and how you can leverage LinkedIn to share your voice and your unique perspective and point of view. The publishing content is a really great way for you to explore topics that matter to you and to share your expertise and insights with your professional community. And when you publish content on LinkedIn, obviously it becomes part of your profile. It's going to actually get shared with your network. As remember we said, there's over 750 people in the global network on LinkedIn. And once you've published content, people again can then follow you to stay on top of what you say and what you post on LinkedIn. And publishing content is that really great way to establish your thought leadership within a community of professionals. So how does publishing work? It actually works very similar to sharing a status update. The only difference is you select write an article. So once you've selected write an article, we've got some tips on how you can sort of bring your expertise front and center and have your voice heard. The first one is create a headline that stands out. So when you're publishing an article, ask yourself if you would click on it in your busy day. So if you think about the things that you click on, and when you're writing your article, think about, would somebody else click on it? Would somebody read this? Again, always add a cover photo or photos throughout your article to help to break up that content. Articles with cover photos get a lot more views and comments than those without. And if you're used to going through your newsfeed and you see someone has written an article, usually there is some sort of graphic or there's some photo which resonates with the article they're writing. And sometimes just seeing that, it's like, oh, that's interesting, let me click on that. And that really helps to people to get more views. Number 3 is pretty much covers everything that we always say, and it's, again, authenticity. Obviously, you've got a lot of experience and you've got the expertise, and people do want to hear your views and your insights and your perspective. So make sure that you are being authentic when you are writing an article. Remember to think about your audience and what they might benefit from. Tailor your content to give back to your professional community. And think about also the article length. You can write a long form post, but make sure it's not too long. Remember, people are really busy. They may not have time to read, an hour-long article. So we recommend that the sweet spot for an article length is around 600 to 1,000 words. So that covers on how you can share your authentic voice on the platform via either publishing content or by sharing an update. And the last section that I'm going to go through is how you can actually gain some insights and knowledge. And LinkedIn is a platform that's going to help you to stay on top of news, content, companies, and professionals that matter the most to you. So let's talk about what that looks like by starting with following companies or following groups or networks. So you can stay connected to these groups or companies that matter the most to you by following them. And you can do that by following the company's page. And if you just use the search function at the top, put in the company name, and you can select companies to search under. Following a company is obviously going to help you stay on top of what they're posting. That'll appear in your newsfeed. It's going to help you to stay on top of their trends and perhaps any new product launches from that company. In addition to following companies, you can also gain insights by following influencers. And following an influencer is the same. It's going to help you to stay on top of key trends from them, maybe key topics and insights from the people that you respect and you admire. When you follow an influencer, you can actually see their activity across LinkedIn in your newsfeed. And you can use a search, again, the search function to find people. You might have a keyword where you can then break it down and search under the posts or jobs or groups, as well as finding different networks to join and grow your community. So some of the networks, there's a ton of networks on the platform. So for Singapore, I'm in part of the Women in Facilities Management. You can be Women in Tech. It could be the New Zealand, like this one, the New Zealand Commerce Network. So anything that you're sort of interested in, if you want to connect with people in your industry, there's like a mining in Singapore, there's banking and finance. You can join these groups, and that's going to really help you to build your community. But you do need to be active, and if you want to connect, it's fine to go on, you can follow, you can read articles and what people are posting. But if you interact and you sort of post or you share, ask questions, comment on people's articles, that's really going to help you build out the network and help you to build that network and that community. So the last section is all about customizing your feed. And this is the last page, and then we can go on to some more questions and answers. So customizing your feed. As a member of LinkedIn, we want to give you full control over your feed. We want to empower you to consume the content that matters to you the most and manage your feed So to manage your feed preferences, you can click the 3 dots on the top right of any post or anything that comes up in your news feed. So from that, you can choose to unfollow people, you can choose to unfollow companies or influencers, Or if a post comes up in your news feed and you think, why on earth is that in my news feed? You can actually hide posts that are not relevant to you. That all behind the scenes with the algorithm will connect, and hopefully you won't see those types of posts anymore because it's not relevant for you. The most important part of this part is you can also report inappropriate content if you see it. Obviously, we do have a team who do actively monitor the feeds and the updates that have been posted on LinkedIn. But as I said at the start of part of the stats, there are over 400 billion feeds and posts that were over a year. Unfortunately, we can't get to them all. So we rely on our members to report inappropriateness to us. As soon as you flag it and report that there's a post or report the post, our team will investigate it and pull it off the newsfeed if it's inappropriate and it doesn't align with our values. So that pretty much sums up and covers the LinkedIn profile. I hope some top tips and how you can actually use the platform to gain some insights, follow and to share your voice and your unique perspective on things. So happy to answer some more questions if anybody has any.
We do have one. We have one here in the Q&A. Can we influence or manage which interests show on our profile page? It seems to change.
The interests, yes, yeah. So you actually have when you're setting up your profile, you can select what interests that you have and that you're interested in, and that will help to customize your feed as well. And if something does come up in your news feed that thinking that's irrelevant, just hide this. You can put, I don't want to see this, and that'll help to not get those interests there.
Okay. Now that was our last question that was there. So if there are no more questions, we can wrap it up there. Natalie, thanks so much for your time today. Okay. And look, I know I'll be dusting off my LinkedIn profile with a few of your tips. I think the big one for me is that it's not a static thing. You need to kind of constantly keep building it and adding to it to get the most value out of it. So that's a really good tip. And for those of you who don't have a photo, go and put a photo on your LinkedIn profile, not one where you're holding a beer or dancing with a mate. So look, thank you so much for your time today, and we will make this recording available to everyone, and then people can, I guess, find you on LinkedIn if they've got any specific questions.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I put my chat. Yeah, if anyone wants to connect or wants me to have a quick look at their profile, let me know. I'm happy to help. I've got my profile in there as well. If you're after, yeah, I've almost followed what I preach. So,
we'll check it out. Thanks so much. Thanks everyone for attending today.
Lovely. Thank you.